when we go back to 2016, if we take the 3 swing states that Donald Trump won, combined total votes 70,000. That's not a lot. If you look at 2020 and you look at Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, you're talking about 43,000 votes, Kellyanne. So when I look at the polls in Georgia and I look at the polls in New Hampshire and Pennsylvania and Nevada and Arizona, although a poll has Blake Masters up by 3 today, and I look at those polls, am I wrong in believing that probably every one of those races or the power in the Senate will be determined by tens of thousands of votes and not hundreds of thousands?
Yes, Sean, you're right. That's the way our elections have been going, and that's why these are called swing states. They literally sit on the razor's edge, and it depends obviously on turnout, but it also depends on motivation and what I call investing in the non-sexy part of politics. Okay, everybody sees the ads, they see the rallies, the campaign, the candidate direct appeals, the TV interviews. What they don't see is who's investing in data and digital. How many volunteers do you have? How many voter contacts have you made? I don't really know what the DNC is doing, but the RNC has done a great job on this, as have all the committees. They raised over $300 million and spent it. They have over 100 million voter contacts. Think about that. You're calling voters, and you're the party talking about inflation, crime, education, immigration, border security, national security, financial security, physical security in your communities. They have over 1 million volunteers. And you see that all of these candidates have been very well resourced. And I think what's happened late in the game, people like Mark Kelly and the woman in Nevada with 3 names and no accomplishments, and Fetterman, and certainly Warnock, who had no big national Democratic stars. He had John Ossoff, the other senator there. These guys didn't go down. I don't know if they've given up on Warnock, but nobody really went there for him lately. They probably didn't want to be near Stacey Abrams. She's about to be a two-time biggest loser. But this is important because all the candidates I just mentioned, the Democrats, they haven't been anywhere near 50% in the polls in a long time. That's bad for the party in power. So when you see those narrow margins, everybody's vote counts. But even in 2020 at the House level, there were 27 toss-ups. Republicans won all or most of them. In 2018, there were a number of races, about 17 races not called on election night in the House, Sean, because they were so close. Democrats ended up winning most of those. So if you didn't get out to vote yet, remember, day of voting is still a rich tradition in this country. You take the time to do things every single day. And independents, swing voters, if you're out there saying, I hate both parties, they're not different, the parties have never been more different. One is for energy independence and a sound economy and lower crime. One is simply not. One didn't even listen to you. Sean, in addition to asking people, are you better off? Here's the question in 2022. Which party saw you, heard you, listened to you, and responded to you? That's a big question, and it's clear that's the Republicans.
Ari, you're looking at the big picture here. This is not your first rodeo. All of us have been down this road. All of the foundational issues are there for the Republicans to have a way of election. It doesn't happen, though, unless the people actually get out and vote. There's not a single thing they can run on that is a success for them. Where do you see this going tomorrow?
The Republicans are going to take the House and the Republicans are going to take the Senate. I think that's that simple. You know, the first race I ever worked on, Sean, was 1982. Ronald Reagan's first midterm election, and Republicans lost 26 seats. It was a wave for the Democrats. A president's first midterm is always tough on the president, with one exception in the last 60 years, and that was George W. Bush, who, because of September 11th and his great popularity at that time, he won seats, the Republicans did, in the House and the Senate. This year for Joe Biden, the man has a 42% job approval. That's abysmally low. The nation, by 70%, thinks we're on the wrong track, and the economy is terrible. Marry that to a first-term election, it's the kiss of death for the party in power. Republicans are going to take the House, Sean. I think they'll end up with about 230 seats. And I think Republicans in the Senate, I predicted to you last week, a 25% chance that Republicans would have a sweep, meaning 56 seats. I think it's up to about a 33% chance now. It's been a good week since last week for Republican. The trend continues. So Republicans will take the Senate probably with 53 or 54 seats. But I can see a 33% chance of Republicans ending up with 56 seats.
Let me take a break. Governor, we're going to get to you in a second. We're going to dip into President Trump. He's in Ohio, big crowd tonight for J.D. Vance, and he's expected to make a big announcement tonight.
I'm not allowed to have a jury. This is the beginning of communism. Likewise, a local left-wing DA in Atlanta is after me for an absolutely perfect phone call about election integrity. Even while Atlanta has among the highest murder rates per capita of any city in the country, they actually are higher than per capita, worse than Chicago, which is a disaster. And all of these local Democrat-run cases are being directed by Washington, D.C. It's part of the witch hunt. I've gone on the largest witch hunt in history. I have gone through the largest witch hunt in the history of our country, and it's a disgrace. And, you know, a friend of mine, very smart guy, came up to me. He said, you've been going through this for 6.5 years. You have to be the most honest person. It's true. Can you imagine? 11 million pages of documents they've examined, and they got nothing. They have one person that they're torturing. Think of this, about a company-owned car, didn't pay tax on a company-owned car, didn't pay tax on a company-owned apartment. They're called fringe benefits. Didn't report that I paid the education for his grandchildren. A very good man, 75 years old. They're torturing him because they want him to say anything bad about Trump. Say something bad. They put him in handcuffs. A friend of mine owns a big accounting firm. He said, there's never been a case like this before. They have persecuted this man in order for him to say something. And then ultimately they offer him a deal. You go to jail for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, or you go to jail for many years. He said, I have to say, this is what, think of what they did. Anybody out here would probably take a deal like that. I wouldn't, I'll be honest, I wouldn't. But they torture. And this is what they used to do and do currently in communist countries. And that's where we're going. That's where we're going. Think of it. Handcuffs, walked in front, a man that never heard of jail before, a man that never had a problem with anything before, handcuffs, and they perk-walked him in front of the press in handcuffs. And nobody has ever been criminally charged in this country, from what we understand, on a fringe benefit case. A company-owned car, think of that, didn't pay tax on a company-owned car, a company-owned apartment. And they say that very few people do. How many people, I wonder, how many people here have a company-owned car? Anybody have a company? Do you pay tax? Sir, you know what? Cover your face, please. Do you pay tax? Uncle Sam, do you have a company-owned car, please? I guarantee even Uncle Sam probably doesn't pay tax, you know. But it's a shame. It's a shame. When I see what's going on, it's a shame. Our country is really going to hell. We have a weaponized Department of Justice and a weaponized FBI, including, of course, the raid of Mar-a-Lago in the document hoax case, totally violating my Fourth Amendment rights. And no president has ever been treated this way. Clinton, you know, the sock case, he had things in his socks. Nothing happened to him except a great verdict. He's got a great verdict. We go by that verdict, the socks verdict. But no, he had it in his socks. You know that, right? And others took many, many documents. They take them out of the White House. They took documents. I'm the only one that can't take anything. But maybe our country would be better off if I actually had the nuclear codes, JD, because our enemies would be afraid, unlike the way they are now. If I had the nuclear codes, Bill Clinton, don't forget, he lost the nuclear codes twice. How do you explain that to the military? I've lost the military codes. He lost the military codes twice. I didn't. They're coming after me because I'm fighting for you. That's all it is. And if I wasn't leading in all these polls, I don't know, if you find those poll numbers, you could put them up. If you find them back there, you geniuses that do this stuff, put them up. Let me know when they're up. We'll talk about them. But we have poll numbers that are through the roof, and so do Republicans. This is going to be a wave. I think this is going to be a very big wave. I hope so. Starting right here. The radical left.
All right, that's President Trump. He is in the state of Ohio tonight, the Buckeye State. He's expected to make a big announcement. I've been calling sources all day, Governor Huckabee, many speculating that, in fact, the president may be announcing that he's running for president tonight. My sources saying that that will not be the case, that he will be announcing that he's made a decision, and that decision will be forthcoming. Would it have mattered if he did announce tonight?
Well, I think it probably is better if he holds off for a little while for two reasons. Number one, everybody is focused on the midterm elections through tomorrow night. We need to get through this, and we need to put all the attention on getting our voters out to vote and to win these races and to win them big. And the second reason, he really would be taking away from the focus of his own announcement in the midst of the midterm elections. If he were to make that announcement tonight, people wouldn't be talking about it nearly as much as they would be if he has a date out there somewhere in the future and he has the stage all to himself with nothing else going on, and it will give all those press people an opportunity to do what they love to do, and that's beat up on him. And by the way, I want to say one thing about Chef Boyardee. Sean,
yeah.
When I was a kid growing up, it was a luxury to have Chef Boyardee. All these people talking about it being some kind of a piker lunch. Heck, man, I would be thrilled to have Chef Boyardee when I was a kid.
Governor, if you like, I'll send you a case. Listen, I liked it as a kid, too, and I like SpaghettiOs also, but I couldn't get there with my dad, who liked corned beef hash and Dinty Moore's beef stew. So, Kellyanne, if my sources are correct, and he's going to, the announcement is that only that he's made up his mind and will be announcing in the future, is that a hint? How do you take that?
Well, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. He's made very clear that Donald Trump agrees with the majority of Democrats, Sean, that he doesn't want Biden there in 2024 either. I mean, if a majority of Democrats feel that way, why shouldn't the former president? If this can be a binary choice between the economy, energy, security, crime under Donald Trump and border, of course, and under Joe Biden, then I think it's easy. Look, Donald Trump has been doing what you see him doing right there in the split screen. He's been doing this for a year and a half now. He endorsed candidates. He wrote checks to them. His MAGA Inc. has spent millions and millions of dollars in 5 states recently, especially. He has showed up, stood up, spoken up, and put up for these candidates. Contrast this with the current president, who can't stand at the podium by himself in a swing state. He was in Maryland today, not a swing state. He was in Union Station the other day, not a swing state. In fact, it's a train station. And the president went there to give some rousing speech. He was in New York. He was in California. So, look, I think that a number of people deserve a lot of credit for this going the Republicans' way. But that includes Donald Trump. He's going to have a lot of good to say tomorrow about the candidates he endorsed, the way he did the teletown halls for them, et cetera. And the issue set, the America First issue set, is on the ballot.
Ari, we'll give you the last word, and then we'll have to inform Governor Huckabee that he will no longer be the best governor in Arkansas history. But Ari, what's your take about the president basically saying, not announcing, but saying that he's made up his mind?
Yeah, he's a wonderful teaser, isn't he? I mean, he really does know how to get the focus on him. But I think Governor Huckabee is exactly right. Republicans want to have the focus on Joe Biden through Election Day. That's one of the reasons Republicans have been propelled to such success. Joe Biden's a very unpopular president. Keep the focus on Joe Biden. Whatever the president does, President Trump does after that, then we'll see. And then I think it's going to be a fascinating issue about whether anybody challenges Donald Trump. I'm certain he's going to run, Sean. I just can't imagine with all the teasing he's done that he'll pull back. I'm pretty sure that President Donald Trump is going to run again in the Republican nomination. Then all the attention shifts to, will somebody challenge him?
All right, we'll find out as that announcement gets close. We'll go back to our coverage of that. Thank you all. Kellyanne, thank you. Governor Huckabee, good luck to Sarah tomorrow. Ari Fleischer, thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here.